You're listening to the Bible Thumping Wingnut Show, the show that's safe for the whole family. Unless your family contains professing atheists.
James White.
I love James White. We don't always agree on everything, I think, but we've never publicly disagreed. At least I don't.
That would be a battle of the Titans if you and him got in a beef. That would be.
No, it wouldn't. He'd clean my clock. He's an experienced debater,
yes,
and I'm just a hack. But there are things that we don't quite see eye to eye on. His Calvinism is a higher brand of Calvinism than mine. What else? I can't think of much else, but I've always had a great deal of respect and love for James. He's a serious critic of everything that he deals with. He's not just one of these, self-appointed discernment experts like I am, who criticizes everybody. Mm-hmm. But he's careful in what he says. He's a real scholar, and he's. My first exposure to him was long time ago, it had to be back in the mid 80s, I think. And I came across some tapes of debates he'd done with Jerry Matitix and some other Catholic. I can't even remember who they were.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
At a time when I was trying to come to grips with what's the best critique of Roman Catholicism and how do we answer the Catholic error in the most succinct and persuasive way? And somebody gave me these, or somehow I got a hold of these debates that James had done, and I had never heard anybody as careful and articulate as he was. And I listened to Jerry Matitix, and I thought, I'm not sure I would have been able to really handle myself, because Jerry Matitix, whatever else you say about him, at least in those days, seemed to have a little bit of smarts, and he'd gone to Reformed seminary, so he knew the Reformed position. And it would have been a difficult thing, I think, for me in those days, at least, to debate Matitix. But James just mopped the floor with him. And
well, have you ever heard James White lose a debate?
Never. No. I've never heard him even come close to losing a debate.
Well, did you hear him?
I've been to some of his debates too, and he just carries himself well and does debates well, and I have the highest respect for James. He has a skewed sense of humor. Mm. He doesn't. I don't know. That's his handicap. His sense of humor. He doesn't have a.
Yeah.
He doesn't really know what's funny.
Yeah.
But even that's kind of funny.
Right. The one debate I heard where I initially thought he was losing, and then in the end I saw how he was setting the bear trap, was his debate.
Playing rope-a-dope.
Right. On Unbelievable Radio, he debated our N.T. Wright.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you heard that debate, but in the early goings, I was like, and this was I was going to a mega church at the time, and my pastor at that time was very Reformed, and I had been exposed to N.T. Wright, and I was like, what do you think of him? Because I don't know how to take him. He said, and my pastor, very gracious, very slow to throw out the H word, but he's like, he's a heretic. Stay away from him. I don't let my associate pastors read him at all. He's too dangerous. He writes at too good of a pastoral level. And so I was listening to that debate in light of my pastor's advice, and I was like, oh boy, he's not kidding. That's a smart dude. But, James White at the end just kind of, went for the, he set him up for a knockout, and it was
playing rope-a-dope.
Mm-hmm. But that's a skill. It
is, and he's really good at that, even on the fly. He's asked me a couple of times. He used to ask me. He stopped asking me because he knows I won't do it. But he's asked me to maybe do some team up with him for some debates, and I've told him I'm not a debater.
Right.
I'm a writer, and I can debate things in writing. But I need time to think through what I'm saying and all that. If it's off the cuff and that kind of thing, I'll lose the debate for you. You don't need me up there, So he's
seems like anyone who would go up with him, other than Michael Brown. Him and Michael Brown seem to debate very well together on certain topics.
Yeah.
But it seems like anyone else would be a handicap. Quite honest. So